Near, 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 rip a hole in the sun. Welcome to Cum Paude. Why would you cum soft when you can cum louder? Yeah.
Oh, welcome to Cum Laude. Cum Paude. You already know who it is. Little hashtag ridiculous, little hashtag OWBN, original white boy Nick at OTM McDeasy on the IG. I know most of the league decides to follow me. We are doing a little bit of a post draft breakdown here, taking a look at each of the picks, taking a look at the players that were picked. Don't want to necessarily put all of that information out pre-draft, so it doesn't necessarily manipulate the draft or provide any undue influence on the Pal Day. But there's been a lot of research here at Cum Laude Pal Day Studios into the players that were drafted. Let's get it started here, just right off the top with number one. This is going to be our round one breakdown. Number one, the Denim Prince, Ashton Genty. He's the man. There's no doubt. Consensus number one overall. Smash the button. Take no time. Went ahead and already signed him to his contract way before the draft. That kind of talent. It's an A plus. Marty gets his guy. Marty obviously is looking for somebody who is kind of the anchor to that running back room, maybe the anchor to the entire team. And I think he gets his guy in that regard. I think Genty is potentially a generational talent, the type of player that we see maybe. It's not generational, maybe though we see once every 3 years. That seems to be a three down running back that can anchor your franchise. So Marty gets his guy at the 101. It is without question that is a hammer down A plus from your resident teacher here. We're going to go to the second pick, though, where things start to get a little bit weird and wild. Some weird, wild stuff. And we've got Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, going off the board to Dan at the 102. Now, if we take a quick look at Dan's team, we're going to be able to see needs across the board. And I think in Dame Judi Dench's previous breakdown of team needs going into the draft, we saw quite a bit of needs in pretty much every position. So it's not the type of thing that we're going to be shocked that he took a tight end, though. In general, most people didn't have Tyler Warren going off the board until maybe the 6th through 9th in rookie drafts, maybe going as high as 4, but certainly maybe in some other situations falling into the second round. But Dan is looking at a team with dramatic running back needs. Omarion Hampton's on the board. Travion Henderson's on the board. Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scattaboo. But he goes with a tight end. I mean, who's he trotting out there at tight end heading into this, other than Tyler Warren? Austin Hooper? Tyler Higbee? He's got the conch. Tyler Warren is a massive upgrade. And as we've seen over the last 2 years, really planting your flag and getting that tight end, if they are the type of tight end who can turn in a tight end 1, 2, 3, 4 season before kind of the drop off, they can make a big difference. Risky play, atypical play that shifted the entire board. But I like it. It's getting a B plus. It's getting a B plus. Certainly A plus upside. Certainly D minus upside. But we're giving it a B plus because if you plant your flag on a one-off position, whether it be a quarterback that is a difference maker, as we've seen tight end, that can be the biggest of difference makers. and you hit, boy, it can take you from being a bottom of the barrel team to a playoff team. B plus. At the third pick, Marty shocked to get his other guy, the Hamp. This falls a little bit differently. You wonder if there's going to be some trades, all sorts of other things, but he gets North Carolina's Omarion Hampton. Ridiculous draft guide had Omarion also as an A plus, had him as the clear number 2 behind Ashton Genty, and there wasn't a lot of difference separating those two in my rankings from the film that I watched and the different metrics that I look at in order to create my rankings. They are in a tier to themselves. A plus for Marty. Again, back-to-back A pluses coming out of the first 3 picks for Martavius. But then we jump down to Caponia, who probably also wasn't necessarily expecting to have this fall the way that it did. And he goes ahead and just smashes the button for Ohio State's Travion Henderson. Complicated player because of his landing spot slightly. Good player, though. Good running back. Has the potential to play all 3 downs. But again, back to his landing spot issues. He's in a situation where typically we don't see Josh McDaniels' offenses go through running backs that play all 3 downs. And he'll be sharing a backfield with another guy with a kind of similar skill set in that way. Got the potential, got the talent in that backfield to be an elite NFL rushing attack. I had him as my 5th ranked running back, but had him clearly in that 2nd tier. So not a huge difference between him and the my 3rd and 4th ranked running backs, which were Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Johnson. Great pick. Great pick. Fell to you, weren't sure you were going to get it. Wonder who you would have gone through if it didn't necessarily fall that way. Gets to join a running back room that had some need. Definitely went to the draft and filled those needs this year. Running back, running back, running back. Al Capone getting it done. We're going to give him an A. To the 105, we're heading to Kevin's pick. Some people haven't had him as high as number 2. Didn't really ever see him falling below number 5. A plus pick right here. 2-way player. He gets Travis Hunter, Heisman Trophy winner. You get the kind of guy who the only reservation is he may be too good at football. He, in my wide receiver rankings, was the 3rd best wide receiver. He plays both ways. He also can return. He has the potential to be a game-changing, fantasy league-winning level player because of his versatility. And honestly, I think it's a steal at the 105. We're going to give him an A plus there. Good job, Kev. Good job, Kev, with that pick. Let's go to John Wilkes Tooth, Drewski, the 106. Quinshon Judkins on the board. I had him as my 3rd ranked running back heading into the draft. Also out of Ohio State. Landing spot way better, in my opinion, than Travion Henderson. The backfield could potentially be his in Cleveland. And that to me means at the 106, somebody that I would have taken at the 103, that's great value. We're giving him an A. Good job for the toothy one. Joins a backfield grouping, though that there is a little bit of rumbling that Miles Sanders may get some run there in Dallas, but that needs a second guy outside of Jonathan Taylor. No one else in this group, though there's some talent and clearly some guys that could have some opportunity with injuries. No one else really has distinguished themselves in Drew's backfield as somebody that can be the star guy or the main guy for their team. And I say that with all due respect to Kyren Williams. Let's head to the 107, which is Pat. At the 107, and I know there were a lot of trade offers. I know Pat was trying to keep the Wolves from the door here at the 107. Probably somebody that we did not think was going to fall to the 107. But again, Dan messed all this up for everybody. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way for Dan. That's not critical for Dan, but it shifted things in a way that maybe trades that would have happened didn't happen. People panicked. People who weren't necessarily prepared in the way that they could have been or wish they had been for these sorts of situations had to scramble, had to really use that time on the clock. But at the 107, my number one wide receiver in the draft, Tet McMillan, is available. He goes to Carolina, where he should slot right in to that number one role with a guy who had a great season last year, who's maybe not a number one, but a solid number two in Xavier Liga. With a quarterback that's shown improvement, with an offensive staff that I think is going to find a way to get this young man the ball. My number one receiver. I would have taken him in the top 3 picks. Been happy about it. At the 107, A+. Lock it up. Great job. Great job. And the key is when these things fall into your lap, you don't miss. If you miss, that can be catastrophic. Now, if you miss just because you're taking a risk, you're really trying to plant your flag, okay, I can respect that. But in this case, Pat had one clear pick. He made that clear pick, and at an extreme value, A+ for me. We're going to hit John, the 108, RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey was my 8th or 9th overall running back in this draft. Kid coming out of the 7th largest university in America, University of Central Florida. A lot of those people are online students, but big school, Disney World down there. John's planting his flag. John's putting a lot of value in somebody that there are experts out there that had him as high as their 3rd best value running back. I had him at 8 or 9. I've been wrong before, at least once back in like 2003 or so. I think it's a reach. But when you look at John's team needs, he's got Javonte. He's got Jalen Warren. He's got Najee Harris. He's got CEH. He's got Tyjae Spears. There's nobody out there in that whole group where you feel like that person is not at best in a timeshare. And RJ Harvey, I do feel, in spite of the competition there, has the opportunity coming out of camp in a Sean Payton offense to be more of a number one than any of those guys that I just listed. And for that reason, though I may have gone with a certain running back from Iowa, or maybe Virginia Tech. I still think it's a solid pick. We're going to give this one a B plus. We're going to give this a B plus. It could be a solid A plus if it works out the way that I think John hopes it would. And at this position, the way that the draft fell, he planted his flag on a guy, and we've got to respect that. To the 109, Caleb Johnson, who I had as my fourth best running back. Going to Pittsburgh, potentially in spite of Jaylen Warren pulling soccer goals and pretty much destroying a local rec sports field across whatever regions he's living in. And posting those things on social media, showing his dedication, his training regimen. I think Caleb Johnson is the alpha. He's the 101. He's the main guy in an Arthur Smith offense, and I love it. I love it. At the 109, Caleb Johnson, who I had as my fourth best running back. I love that. I would have taken him at the 105. It's an A from me. Meets the needs. He got his guy. Let's go to Tommy for a minute. Back to the tight ends. Tommy's a team that is stacked, doesn't really have a ton of needs. He really doesn't. However, his tight end room, it seems, may have just needed a little bolstering. Having Evan Ingram in Denver gives him a guy who's right there. But snagging Loveland, kid out of Michigan, landing with the Bears, landing with Caleb Williams, landing with a team and an offense that seems ready to take that next step forward in their passing attack, and getting him right where he should be, at the 110, at a position where you have need, sort of, but a position where you probably have more need than you do at any of the rest of your positions. It's a great pick. Well done, as usual, Tommy, as we've come to learn from you. This is just what Tommy does. It's an A minus from me. Love it. Love it. Other directions, there's some dudes on the board. Could have gone other ways. Very good pick. Then we go to the 111, a pick I absolutely love. Brian needed help at running back. Blake Corum may be a dude, really will. Travis Etienne, probably a year or two left of production. Like that. Samaj A.P. Ryan, don't love that. Chuba Hubbard, seems like the guy again. Ramondre Stevenson, we've already talked about that backfield. Had some need at running back. So what did he do? He went and got his guy. Dude, I love. Had him as my fifth or sixth best running back available. Get out of Virginia Tech, do the hokey pokey, baby. Brian is hitting it hard. Guy that is a home run hitting talent. And a guy that lands in Jacksonville that serves potentially as a handcuff, just potentially as a supplemental player. There's a world where you're playing both Etienne and Bashal too. I love the pick. A minus. Solid. Good grade. Definitely some other talent on the board. Other people may have said that's a second round pick. No, absolutely not. I think that's perfect for him. The 111. I think it's great. Let's go back to Caponia. Caponia at the 112 hits it hard with a wide receiver. He goes and gets my fourth best wide receiver. I dropped him actually to fifth only because of landing spot, but I think in terms of talent, was the fourth best guy in the draft. And my wide receiver rankings were Tet McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Travis Hunter, Matthew Golden, and Luther Burden. Golden and Burden to me are interchangeable. I'm a big Luther Burden guy. I love Luther Burden. I would have been just as happy taking Luther Burden as high as my third wide receiver overall, ahead of Travis Hunter. But I think in terms of raw talent, Matthew Golden is a guy. He's a dude. You've got to worry about that landing spot slightly. Green Bay is crowded. It's a crowded wide receiver. You've got a great quarterback that can distribute the ball. You really do. And if he has a healthy season this year, which we didn't see from our friend from Utah State last year, there could be a lot of touchdowns through the air coming out of this offense. But he goes ahead of Emeka. That's a bold pick. It's a bold move. And while I think it's fine at the 112, getting Matthew Golden, leaving Emeka there on the board, it drops it down for me a little bit. I think that to me was the clear play with an aging Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I think we were in a position where that could be an Emeka run show within the next 2 years. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Right? You're not seeing low grades in the first round. I mean, you really have to swing and miss. And we don't have that. This league's too sharp for that. So I'm gonna give it a B plus. Solid pick, good pick. I would have gone Emeka here, but I can see a path where I am proven absolutely wrong. I can see a path where Matthew Golden is the best of this group of wide receivers from this draft because of his quarterback situation, because of his coaching situation. So I like it. B plus. Let's go back to Tommy. A team that has very few needs has Emeka fall right in his lap. At the 113, you're telling me we're getting Emeka at the 113? I had him as my 9th or 10th, maybe 11th best overall, depending on how stuff was going to shake out. Great value. It's hard to, I mean, you're not going to get these huge, massive 5, 6, 7 spots of value in the first round very often, though you could argue that Pat pulled that off with the Tet pick. This is the same pick. This is the same pick that Pat made with the Tet pick that Tommy's making here with Emeka. Smash the button. Do the thing. Don't overthink it. It's right there in front of you. He did it. That's an A plus for me. It's a great pick. This turns out to be the first round that Tommy had here, snagging both a tight end, potentially a difference maker, and a wide receiver who could step right in and be extremely productive, though Tommy doesn't necessarily need him to be. Already having BTJ and AJ Brown. Though he could step in and be that difference maker right away, it builds him for the future. This tandem of BTJ and Emeka moving forward is dangerous. AJ Brown's not that old. Ayuk's got some gas in the tank. I'm still a Michael Pittman believer, but I'm not sure how much gas is left there. And let's take it to the final round. Trading out of it was certainly my pick. It goes to my brother. Fermi, Dame Jiri Dench. And he goes and gets the right pick, the 114. Guy that I had as my 14th best player in the draft. Trey Harris. What's there to say? There's a need at wide receiver. There's a guy who's got a legit talent at wide receiver. I may have taken Jaden Higgins above him. In my rankings, I had Jaden Higgins higher. But that's it. Nobody else. Just Jaden Higgins. Everybody else, with I suppose Luther Burden was still on the board. I would have taken Burden, then Higgins, then Trey Harris. But I can see a path where all of those are about the same player. And so you find your guy, you go get your guy. It's an A minus, the 114, meets a need. Love the pick. And that's our breakdown there for the first round. A lot of talent, a lot of good picks, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of value extracted. Feeling good about this league, feeling good about the excitement. Hashtag engagement 2025. Say goodnight, Nikki. Good night, Nikki.
Thank you for listening to the official podcast of the Public Honors College Fantasy Football League. Coom quickly, coom often, and coom loud.